All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, welcome to the morning Bhagavatam class. Okay, yes. It's Hare Krishna. So, welcome to the morning Bhagavatam class. Today we are reciting the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 27, and text 18 and 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, text 18, Canto 3, Chapter 27, the understanding material nature. So, please repeat with me. Yatha gandhasya bhumescha
Yatha gandhasya bhumescha
na bhavo vyatirekata
bhavo vyatirekata
apam rasasya cha yatha
amrasasya cha yatha
tata buddhe parasya cha
tथा बुद्धे परस्य च
yatha gandhasya bhumescha
तथा गन्धस्य भूमेश्च
na bhavo vyatirekata
भावो व्यतिरेकतः
apam rasasya cha yatha
आम्रसस्य च यथा
tata buddhe parasya cha
तथा बुद्धे परस्य च
yatha gandhasya bhumescha
तथा गन्धस्य भूमेश्च
na bhavo vyatirekatah
भावो व्यतिरेकतः
apam rasasya cha yatha
आम्रसस्य च यथा
tata buddhe parasya cha.
तथा बुद्धे परस्य च
Prabhuji's.
यथा गन्धस्य भूमेश्च
Yata gandhasya bhumescha
न भावो व्यतिरेकतः
na bhavo vyatirekatah
आम्रसस्य च यथा
apam rasasya cha yatah
तथा बुद्धे परस्य च
tata buddhe parasya cha. Yata gandhasya bhumescha na bhavo vyatirekatah apam rasasya cha yata tata buddhe parasya cha. Yata gandhasya bhumescha na bhavo vyatirekatah apam gandhasya
तथा बुद्धे परस्य च
Mataji.
यथा गन्धस्य भूमेश्च
Yata gandhasya bhumescha na bhavo vyatirekatah
पां रसस्य च यथा
apam rasasya cha yata
तथा बुद्धे परस्य च
tata buddhe parasya cha.
यथा गन्धस्य भूमेश्च
Yata gandhasya bhumescha
न भावो व्यतिरेकता
na bhavo vyatirekatah
अपां रसस्य च यथा
tata buddhe parasya cha. Word to word meaning. Yatha, as gandhasya of aroma, bhume of earth, cha and na, no, bhava, existence, vyatirekata, separate, apam, of water, rasasya, of taste, cha, and yatha, as, stata, so, buddhe, of intelligence, parasya, of consciousness, of spirit, cha, and. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation, please repeat with me. As there is no separate existence of the earth and its aroma, or of water and its taste, there cannot be any separate existence of intelligence and consciousness. Purport. The example is given here that anything material has an aroma. The flower, the earth, everything has an aroma. If the aroma is separated from the matter cannot be identified. If there is no taste to water, the water has no meaning. If there is no heat in the fire has no meaning. Similarly, when there is want of intelligence, the spirit has no meaning. So we'll also continue text 19. I will read the words and the translation, everything. Akartu karma bandho yam purusasya yad ashraya guneshu satsu prakrite kaivalyam te shvata khatam. Word to word meaning. Akartu, of the passive performer, of the non-doer. Karma bandhana, bondage to fruitive activities. Ayam, this. Purusasya, of the soul. Yat ashraya, caused by attachment to the modes. Guneshu, while the modes. Satsu, an existing. Prakriti, of material nature. Kaivalyam, freedom. Tesu, those. Atha, hence. Katam, how. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Hence, even though he is the passive performer of all activities, how can there be a freedom for the soul as long as the material nature acts on him and binds him? Purport. Although living entity desires the freedom from contamination of matter, he is not given release. Actually, as soon as living entity puts himself under the control of the modes of material nature, his acts are influenced by the qualities of material nature and he becomes passive. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Prakrite Kriyamanani Gunai. The living entity acts according to the qualities or modes of material nature. He falsely thinks that he is acting, but unfortunately he is passive. In other words, he has no opportunity to get out of the control of the material nature because it has already conditioned him. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated that it is very difficult to get out of the clutches of the material nature. One may try in different ways to think that everything is void in ultimate issue, that there is no God, and that even if the background of everything is spirit, it is impersonal. This speculation may go on, but actually it is very difficult to get out of the clutches of the material nature. Devahuti poses the question that although one may be speculate in many ways, where is the liberation as long as one is under the spell of material nature? The answer is also found in Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Only one who has surrendered himself onto the lotus feet of Supreme Lord Krishna, Mam evai prapajyante, can be freed from the clutches of Maya. Since Devahuti is gradually coming to the point of surrender, her questions are very intelligent. How can one be liberated? How can one be in a pure state of spiritual existence as long as he is strongly held by the modes of material nature? This is also an indication to the false meditator. There are many so-called meditators who think I am the supreme spirit soul. I am conducting the activities of material nature. Under my direction, the sun is moving and the moon is rising. They think that by such contemplation or meditation, they can become free. But it is seen that just 3 minutes after finishing such nonsensical meditation, they are immediately captured by the modes of material nature. Immediately after his high-sounding meditation, a meditator becomes thirsty and wants to smoke or drink. He is under the strong grip of material nature, yet He thinks that he is already free from the clutches of Maya. This question of Devahuti is for such a person who falsely claims that he is everything, that ultimately everything is void, and that there are no sinful or pious activities. There are all atheistic inventions. These are all atheistic inventions. Actually, unless a living entity surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as instructed in Bhagavad Gita, there is no liberation or freedom from the clutches of Maya. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Pati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Runda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Welcome once again. So we are continuing the chapter from Canto 3, the 27, Understanding the Material Nature. So today's verse, number 18 and 19. So Kapila Muni was explaining the Sankhya philosophy to Mother Devahuti based on her questions, like how to get out of the disturbance of these material senses. And he explained the Sankhya philosophy and explained how the material nature is created. And after that, now we are trying to understand the nature of the material world. So in this two verses, currently mainly focusing on how to, Devahuti's question in the previous verses, it was mentioned that how to get out of this material nature, because the modes are acting continuously on every living entity. Is there any way we can come out of this material nature? Is it possible? So in the 18th and 19th verses, she was expressing her feelings towards with Kapila Muni. How can we come out of this material nature? In fact, when the material nature is acting on everyone, mainly the impact, how it comes, the three modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, these things will be continuously acting on everyone. And whatever activities we are doing, we are all under the influence of these three modes, mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, sattva, raja and tamoguna. So in the first few minutes we try to understand how we are entangled in this material world when we are under the influence of three modes. So suppose we are doing many activities. We do in a day from morning to evening, night, we do many activities, right? So all that, there was no time where we will be out of three modes of material nature. Every minute, every second, we will be acting under the modes of material nature. Like, suppose you are morning, when you are in suppose goodness, when you see certain things, you are doing, appreciate, like someone is singing nicely, or someone doing some dance nicely, or some other person is performing nicely. When your mode of goodness is acting, then you will be appreciating it. Suppose when you are driving on a motorway or the road, suddenly some person is going very fast. Suppose if you are acting under the mode of passion, you will get a feeling that, okay, I have to overtake him, and you will try to go fast. And so similarly, mode of ignorance means Today is Ekadashi. Many people try to come for Mangalarti. Many try to do many extra things for the pleasure of Lord, right? But more those who are in ignorance, they think that they don't bother about anything. Their Ekadashi or anything. So these are like the various modes are constantly working on each and every one. And whatever activities we do under the influence of these modes, we will have a reaction. Whether it is a goodness, suppose you helped someone when the person is in need, but you helped something, you helped him in the mode of goodness, but you will have to take the reaction, suffer the reaction. Maybe in this birth or the next birth, you have to take the reaction, suffer the reaction. Similarly, mode of passion and ignorance, everything will be having the reaction. So that is where, so constantly all the modes are constantly working, and whatever activity we do in the material nature, not in the devotion, but under the influence of these three modes, whatever activity we do, we will be having the reaction. This is causing bondage. So to fulfill the reaction, we have to take another birth. This is how Deyahut is saying, how is it possible? Because these modes are working constantly, and every activity we do, we will have a reaction. So where is the way? How is the way to come out of these three modes of material nature? However, is there any way we can get out of this material world? That is why she was explaining. In the 18th verse, she was explaining this in more with some material analogy. So we have a material elements, earth and flower. Earth will have a smell, flower will have a smell, right? So we can't separate these two. As long as two elements are there, like the flower and earth, we continuously keep getting smell. We cannot separate smell from the flower. As soon as we get flower, we will have a smell. Similarly, another example is mentioned is fire and heat. As and when we have a fire, we will have a heat. We cannot avoid the heat. It is compulsory, mandatory. Similarly, these are the two examples which Devahuti was referring to, material analogy she is referring in the 18th verse. Similarly, another in the purport also she was mentioning. So body and, in the same way, these examples, how the aroma and material elements are combined, how the smell and flower are combined, and how the fire and heat is coupled. Similarly, the matter and spirit, soul is coupled like that. So this is what Devahuti's analogy. Another thing is, suppose if how the two are tightly coupled, we can understand. So we are in the body. Body is active because of consciousness. Consciousness is there, nothing but soul. Suppose if you take out the soul, if the soul left the body, body is dead. So this is how the two are tightly coupled. And suppose if you want to see if the soul left the body, then and body is dead. In that means you cannot see the consciousness. Means so as long as the body and soul are coupled, you can see the body is active, as well as you can perceive the soul as well. You can by seeing the consciousness, you can understand that the soul is present. So this is how these are the two things. We can understand how this body and soul are tightly coupled. If we take out one thing, other thing we cannot perceive. This is how the two are tightly coupled. So, why in all these things, we are trying to perform the various activities. Now we try to discuss a little bit how our activities are performed. So, because all the karma is generated because of activities. Whatever activities we do, that is causing resultant reaction under the modes of. But how the living entity performs activities. In the previous last chapter we discussed, we have karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, sense objects, mind, intelligence, all these things, right? Combining thing. These are the elements through which all the material nature is formed, right? So when you are going on the road, through your eyes, you see the things. When you see the things, you observe through your jnanendriyas, eyes. You will see the things which are happening on the road. Then your mind will process. First you perceive, then process, then you will have a reaction, response to that activity. Then your karmendriyas will come to perform that activity, right? So your mind will process, you see the senses, you will see the things, and with the mind will process, and then you will have a response to those things, whatever you have seen. This is how in a nutshell, in a high level, the living entity is performing the activities. But what we are thinking, so in this material nature, we had under the false ego is constantly acting on us. Because of false ego, what we are thinking, we are not we are the body, we are not the soul, and we are thinking that we are doing everything, and I am suffering, and I have now to come out of this material world. I have to stop. I have to control my activities, or I have to stop doing activities so that I can come out of the material. But actually, is it only the body, the doer? In this case, he is thinking, identifying himself as a body, right? Is the body only to doing the things? If we analyze further, like if you see, when you see, your senses are there into the picture. Through your senses, you are saying. Through your mind, you are processing. Your karmendriyas, with hands and legs, you are performing. It's not just the body, like just simply you cannot see them. All these are all the separate entities. Senses, body, mind, everything, these are various entities, right? So your body is one aspect of accomplishing any things. But there are many other things impacting to accomplish any task. Like the one nice analogy we can see, like so in the Bhagavad Gita book, we see the photo like Krishna is there in the chariot, Krishna is the charioteer, and the senses are the horses are there, right? By saying that, we have a nice analogy, our acharyas, very devotees explain, right? The chariot is like a body, Arjuna, the person who is sitting in the chariot, is like a soul, and Krishna, like the driver, charioteer, is like intelligence. Various senses are like horse, reins which control the senses, like is a mind. So these are, so if you want to travel from one place to another place in the chariot, the person who is sitting inside the chariot will have a desire that I have to travel particular place. Then he will, based on his experience, then in mind and intelligence work together and to the senses, and it will take you to the near required destination. So in all, what we are saying is, under the impression of false ego, we are thinking that I am the doer, but you are not just the doer. There are many factors contributing to accomplish any task, and you are one among those factors. And another analogy, like we can see from the Damodar Leela pastimes, right? Like Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna to wooden grinding mortar, and every time she tried to tie with that rope, the rope is shortage of 2 fingers, right? So our acharya is giving the message, what is the significance of those 2 fingers, right? One is endeavor, our endeavor we have to do, and second one is Krishna's mercy. So considering all these details, like the chariot example, or how generally the material example, how we are doing the activities, and with this Damodar Leela example, what we can see, we are not just the body is the doer, there are many other factors influencing. So the same thing is conveyed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18th, text 14th. Adhishtanam tata karta karnam cha pratak vidam vividascha pratak chesta daivam chaivam panchamam. There are 5 factors influencing the any activity, any work we do, whether through mind, body, or speech, whatever activities we do, these are the 5 aspects involved in. It's not just the body, we are thinking that it's the body, but these are so now this makes more complicated when we think. Right? Why? Because what we are our ultimate aim is to come out of this material nature, to come out of this clutches of this modes of material nature, right? If we have to perform thing, till now under the false ego, I am the only one doing. But now, these are the various things we have to coordinate to get out of this material world. It's not just a doer. This is the actual the meaning. So, in that predominant is, again, the supreme, like the 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? The place of action, means it's the body, and the performer, means in this case, the soul, and the various senses. When to perform any activity, we need to use hands, legs, anything, and different kinds of endeavor. Finally, any activity we should, before we start, we will have our endeavor. We have a desire to perform something, right? So that, and finally, super soul. These are the various 5 factors which influence accomplishing any work. So So it's not just the body we are trying to, okay, we are doing our bodies, we think that under the false ego, it's the body is doing, but it's not body. These are the various factors, 5 factors. Bhagavad Gita specifies, these are the 5 factors contributing to accomplish any work. In that, predominant thing is, like from the Damodar Leela pastime as well, we can understand Krishna, Super Soul, our endeavor and mercy. Mercy of Supreme Lord is compulsory to perform any task, whether it is a material or spiritual, like whatever, whether it is a success or whatever activity you do, whether it is a success or failure in your terms, right? But if the 3 things are, these are the 5 factors implemented. That's why in the next verse also, in the 15th verse of chapter 18, it was mentioned, whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind or speech, it is caused by these 5 factors. These are the 5 factors influencing accomplishing any work. So considering all this also, when we understand, when we hear, Devahut is saying that it is very difficult to come out of this material nature, right? So when we understand these things, right? So these are the various things we need to coordinate, align, bring together to come out of this material nature. So then what is the way? How we can come out of this? Like this is what in the first section of the purport 19, Prabhupada was talking how the material world is influencing. Next section, Prabhupada was talking about surrendering to the Lord, coming out of the, how we can come out of this 3 modes of material nature. So what is the way? So now the 3 modes are acting, and we are in the completely absorbed in the material modes, and we are not doing any devotion as of now. What is the way? How we can come out of the 3 modes of material nature? Then, if you see the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, first thing, like people, because the main focus is on activities. The activities causing the bondage, the repeated birth and death, right? The first thing any layman can think that, okay, I will stop doing activities. That is the first thing we think, right? Okay, I wanted to away doing any activities. It's like a renunciation. But Krishna is saying that not merely by abstaining from work, you cannot be getting coming out of the modes of material nature. The reason is, you are under the influence of 3 modes. Your senses, mind, intelligence, completely materially oriented, right? Even though you try to stop doing work, your mind, intelligence will instigate you to perform many activities. So, until your senses are purified, your mind, intelligence and all the senses are purified, you cannot practice like a renunciation, stop doing work. And another thing Krishna has mentioned, right? Nahi kasyati kshanamapi, right? There is not even for a minute you will be free from doing any activity. So every minute you will be doing activities, right? So it's your mind will be so active, you cannot keep it idle. If you try to, we all know, like if you try to meditate, if you try to close your eyes, try to do meditate or do chanting sincerely, but after 1-2 minutes, your mind will be roaming anywhere. Like though you will be sitting here, your mind will be roaming all over Sydney, right? Sydney, or it's beyond Australia, it can go anywhere. So that's how the mind is very active. Like you cannot keep it idle. If you have to engage on something, either it is a material. If you are not Krishna conscious oriented, if you are not devotional, you have to, by default, it will engage on matter. So that is the position of our mind, our material senses. So considering all this approach of renunciation, stop doing work, it will not bring us out from the 3 modes of material nature. That is not possible. Then what is the next option we can see? So stop doing the work is not possible. We cannot stay away from work. So as long as we are doing work, we will be suffering reaction. So the next thing is, Krishna is mentioning 3rd chapter again. Yajnartha karmano nartha lokoyam lokabandhana tadartam karma kauntaya mukta sangha samachara. So what is thing? Whatever activity, work has to be done for the sacrifice to Vishnu. Like, so when the Brahma created this secondary creation, then secondary creation happened to Brahma. He created various demigods and everything, right? So each demigod will have a particular functionality in the material world. Like one demigod will provide rain, so other demigod will provide grains. different, like the moon, sun, they are providing various things. Every demigod is having different functionality. Through that, suppose if you are praying particular demigod, you're trying to for a rain, or if you are trying to pray demigod for food grain, so you pray the demigod, but when you get the result, offer to Krishna. That is at the least level. If you are not on the devotee path, and at least you are trying to be the neophyte stage, you still wanted to perform demigods. So obviously, when you are the pure deity, when you are in the devotion path, you have to pray Krishna, because all the demigods part and parcel of Krishna. When you pray Krishna, rest all demigods will be satisfied. But you are not there yet. You are in the neophyte stage. So your understanding and knowledge is very minimal. So you pray demigods. When they provide the things, you offer back to Krishna and accept. That is the way, one option where we can control, we can come out of this material. Because as long as you keep Krishna in the center, whatever activity you do, it is not material, it is spiritual, it is transcendental. So with that approach, you can avoid reactions, you can avoid sufferings, you can avoid repeated birth and death. So whatever, like if you are doing any job, you think that okay, it's a Krishna is arranging the job, with the Krishna helped you to provided this job, you do the job, you work and perform your duty, thinking that Krishna has given this job, you have to make Krishna happy, and whatever results you get, you try to offer it to Krishna in whatever way possible. So that is the more approach we have to take. So first we have, so what are till now? We evaluated two options. One, abstaining from work, that is not practical. But the second one looks more possible, right? Everything, simply you just keep Krishna in the center. Any work you do, try to please Krishna. You offer back to Krishna and try to please Krishna. That way you can be removing the reactions of your work. And the next one, we can think other option is a regulated life. So uncontrolled sense enjoyment is the cause of material bondage. So it's unless you curb your material desire through regulated life, you will not be able to control your senses, control your desires. You have to have the regulated life. So as we mentioned, like in the beginning also we are saying that today is Ekadashi. Some people try to do Nirjala. Some people try to do full day fasting. Or some people are trying to do more extra rounds on Ekadashi. So these are the various aspects, things people will consider, right? So these are all these are the activity steps towards regulated life. These are the devotional activities. At the same time, we are trying to regulate, instead of spending time on material things, by doing extra activities, extra chanting rounds, or fasting without taking grains. By all these activities, if we are not doing these activities, we will spend time on material things, right? We have only two options, either material or spiritual. If you are not doing any extra endeavor on Ekadashi day, on a specific any festival days or any auspicious days, you will be spending time on other material activities, right? So the main focus here is regulated life. We have to control our activities. You are regulated activities. Then only we can control our activities, our desires. So regulated life is the key thing for our controlling our desires, material sense enjoyment and pleasure. So in this case, we can see how Prabhupada nicely arranged this. Like he has 4 regulative principles and chanting. What are the 4 regulative principles? No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. Like suppose let's imagine if the Prabhupada has not mentioned, simply mentioned based on the scripture, okay, do regulated life. Then what we think? Some people will think, okay, each person will go according to their own definition. Some people may think, okay, avoid intoxication. Some people may think, okay, I do only gambling. So, like, according to their own understanding, their own perception, he will do only some limited. But Prabhupada standardized the process in our. So everyone in the ISKCON, our Krishna conscious community, have to follow this. Then everyone will progress together. That is the forward thinking of Prabhupada, how he was facilitating these things, like the 4 regulative principles and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, 16, minimum 16 rounds of chanting. These things will help us to control our regulated life through which we can come out of the three modes of material nature. So this is the most recommended approach we all follow in our everyone will follow this regulative principles, right? So in relation to Dev, we are trying to understand the options in relation to Dev, this question, how can we come out? Surrendering means and doing the devotional. It's all that statements, but how we can practically apply these things, this is what we are trying to discuss. And the next thing, we'll jump back to Srimad Bhagavatam, the third canto, in the 9th chapter, I guess, Brahma's prayers. Like when Brahma came out of the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu's abdomen, and he was trying to, he doesn't know what he has to do first. And then he was searching everywhere, and he's on his own effort, is not able to understand anything. And by the mercy of Vishnu, the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, he started doing devotional tapasya, right? He did for 1,000 years. And after 1,000 years, he realized through Vishnu, he realized that from that, okay, he has to do the secondary creation. Then he started, he prayed, then after that he offered prayers. He was able to see Vishnu. Before that tapasya, devotion, he was not able to see Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. After that, he was able to clearly see the Vishnu. And then he offered the prayers. Because he got to know that now he has to do the the creation of the material world. Right? Then he started offering prayers. What he offered? First thing he offered, please provide me the empowerment to do this creation successfully. And second thing, he said, he should not get affected by this Maya. And the third thing, since he is creating a big job, creating the universe is a big thing, right? He should not get pride. So this is what the Brahma himself is praying, that empowerment to fulfill the work, pride, he should not get the pride, and he should be in the path of devotion. He should not get influenced by Maya. So what is the takeaway from this? Like, we also do the activity. Why? Because we're taking this if you are not doing in the material works, we are doing the spiritual work, devotional activities, right? We think that, okay, today morning I did this service, I am going to do the next other service, I'm preparing boga, like everything time we think that I am going to do this activity, I am going to do this. But in case of Brahma, what we can learn, even though Brahma gave the work service to him, what Brahma is praying, please give me the empowerment to do this work. That should be our mood. That should be our focus. So because of Krishna is giving the required skills, he is facilitating everything to perform our job. All we need is, we should have a desire to serve Krishna. As long as we have the desire to serve Krishna, and then if you perform, like in our case, Prabhupada recommended 16 rounds of chanting. But if you perform 16 rounds of chanting sincerely and 4 regulative principles, and any activity, service you get, you think, you pray Krishna that, please empower me, like how Brahma is praying, right? So then Krishna will be giving the empowerment. Whatever service you do successfully, it is because of Krishna. Brahma says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sajitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. He is the cause of all causes. So whatever activity, whatever service we do, it is clearly Krishna's empowerment. Without that, we will not be able to accomplish any work. So all we need is just desire to do the service. Do the chanting, 4 regulative principles. That's why Prabhupada mentioned many times, right? Do follow that 4 regulative principles, do chanting. It is definite that you will go back to Godhead in this lifetime. That is how we can understand from Brahma's prayers. And at the end, for Brahma's prayers, in response to Brahma's prayers, Supreme Lord responded back then. In the same chapter, whoever is performing devotion like you, definitely they will be getting Krishna's mercy, his mercy, the Supreme Lord's mercy. So, in relation to this question, how can we come out of this material world? Though it is a difficult, it is a challenging, but our motive should be to follow regulative principles, do the chanting, pray Krishna. That even though we do many activities, many services, it's only Krishna's mercy, Krishna's arrangement, we are able to fulfill this, able to accomplish these activities. So, this is what with this I will conclude today's class. Any comments, any Yes, Prabhu.
The first shloka, the 18th shloka, talks about the existence of intelligence and consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Any reason Kapiladeva didn't actually refer to the mind and spirit, but he referred to intelligence and spirit?
So which one?
I believe intelligence is in the mode of passion, right? And mind is in the mode of
Goodness. Yeah.
and spirit is in the mode of Shuddha Sattva, right?
Yes.
There's a close connection between mind and spirit rather than this intelligence and spirit, right? So why is Kapiladeva referring to intelligence here rather than mind?
So which in the translation you are referring to, there is no separate existence on of the earth and its aroma of water. It cannot be separate from intelligent consciousness. So yeah, so there cannot be any separate existence of intelligence and consciousness, right? Yeah. So consciousness means it's nothing but the soul. Yeah, intelligence. What is your question, Prabhu? You are saying?
So why Kapiladeva is not referring to mind instead of intelligence?
Because
There's a close connection between mind,
yes.
which is in the mode of goodness, right? And we say that when mind is not in a proper state, we should pray to Lord Aniruddha,
Yeah.
who's actually the predominating being.
So the why here it is referring to intelligence instead of mind. So Prabhu, my understanding is if you see this mind, intelligence and false ego, these are the subtle elements. The hierarchy is mind is at the lower, then intelligence is on the top. Right? If the intelligence is controlled, mind is already controlled. Like in previous classes, I was giving the example, analogy. Suppose if my intelligence is trained in a spiritual way, conscious, like Krishna conscious way, mind will be aligned in that same way. Suppose if the intelligence is in a material orient, your mind is also aligned. So that's why mind is the bottom, the next intelligence, after that false ego. This is the hierarchy. On top of that, soul is there. So if in the Bhagavad Gita it was explained the hierarchy of these. So intelligence is on top, below is mind. That could be my understanding why it is referring to.
The state of intelligence,
Yeah.
as mentioned in the previous shlokas, is in the mode of passion, right?
Yes.
Whereas mind is mentioned as in the mode of goodness.
Yes. So, but in that, if you see the hierarchy point of view, intelligence drives. Based on your intelligence, mind acts. Right? It's a mind cannot work on its own. It will use the intelligence, then it works, right? So that is how the dependency, if you see the dependency, yes, that aspect is correct, but how the mind and intelligence related, in relation with that, you can understand this. That's my...
I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Today we studied that when my mind is wandering,
Yeah.
and from that I slowly start to understand Krishna and the Lord. So my question is how do I differentiate? For example, if I stand next to the ocean to find Krishna, the desire that I have to stand in front of the ocean, is that materialism?
No. So anything which is connected to Krishna is not material. Yeah, so as long as you think that, okay, today I wanted to donate something to Krishna, right? That is a spiritual. It's not material. Anything connected to Krishna, any activity you think in your mind, or if you act, that is a transcendental, spiritual. It's not Krishna, material.
So summation is that if I'm standing in front of the ocean for Krishna,
Mm-hmm.
then the differential feeling that I have that I want to get Krishna is not a material feeling.
No, it's not material. Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for the interesting class.
Thank you.
And my question about Ritas and donation as well. And you just mentioned now that everything what is connected with Ritas become spiritual activity, not material. And yes, a few days ago we attended a very interesting seminar of the Bhakti Swami, and he shared about 5 Bhakti Angas, which develop our Krishna consciousness. And doesn't matter, do we believe in that process or no? 5 Angas are so powerful that the process will do it itself, even without our faith for the process. So my question is, donation to the deities. A lot of people come, sometimes they even don't understand just part of good culture to leave some donation. Sometimes devotees and donation. And what is is it part of Archasemana? Is it part of worship to deity directly on altar, or it's still some part of karma kanda and material activity which will give us fruits, good result, but it's still we can't treat it as directly Archasemana?
See, because I think, okay, as per my understanding, anything which we are offering to Supreme Lord, it is a spiritual, like it's a. But suppose some people at the neophyte stage, they may not have a proper understanding. If you are going to Lord Ganesha or Shiva, you are doing the same thing. It's like a karma kanda. You are praying the demigod, right? Demigod worship is not like it's like a karma kanda. You are expecting something and you are trying to donate something. It's like a karma kanda. But when you come to the deity, Supreme Lord Krishna, and when you donate something, it's like a spiritual. That's my understanding. Any comment, Prabhu? Yes.
One thing, not on that comment, but one question from my side. Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Thank you very much first, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Nice question.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So, in the verse 18, there in the last statement, similarly, when there is want of intelligence, spirit has no meaning, is mentioned. So, what does exactly that mean, Prabhu?
So, okay, the example is given in here that anything material has an aroma, the flower, the earth, everything has an aroma. If aroma is separated from the matter cannot be identified. If there is no taste to water, the water has no meaning. If there is no heat in the fire has no meaning. Similarly, when there is no want of intelligence, spirit has no meaning. So, spirit in this case, it's a soul has no meaning when there is no want of intelligence. So, I'm trying to interpret, I may be wrong, but what I'm intelligence in relation to, like if you have an intelligence specific to Krishna, then your soul has a particular, it's a meaning, purposeful, right? Otherwise it's a material, but I'm not very clear, Prabhu, what exactly the meaning, but yeah.
Yeah, but makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I think the nature of soul is Sachidananda.
Yeah.
So soul means if you are looking for ingredients of the soul, eternity, knowledge and bliss. So knowledge and soul are inseparable.
Yes.
So that's what it means when Prabhupada writes here, when there is a want of intelligence, means
Yeah.
that means there is no intelligence. In which case, you cannot define a soul without explaining about its intelligence. If there is no intelligence means then it's matter, it's not soul.
Yeah, it's not.
It's like a brick has no intelligence.
Yeah.
So it's material, you can reject it.
Okay.
Likewise, you take anything, any Panchabhuta, anything, has it got intelligence? No. If it's separated, then it's not soul.
Yes.
But when you go to a living entity, do they have intelligence? Yes, they do. Then there you can identify the presence of soul.
Yeah, yeah.
So soul, one way of understanding the presence of soul, the symptom of it is intelligence.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Any comments? Yes, Prabhu.
Which is the second shloka,
Yeah.
19. In the second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that since Devahuti is gradually coming to the point of surrender, her questions are very intelligent. How can one be liberated? I was just wondering, does a devotee such as Sri Devahuti, who has got a high caliber, need to really bother about moksha? Or when she is even referring to like a devotee, we need to get out of this dharma artha kama moksha. We need to go beyond that, right? So any reason why she's actually worrying about
Yeah. Yeah, Prabhu, in previous classes, I think some other devotees have explained same thing. If you see the Devahuti background, her father is a Swayambhuva Manu. And her husband is a Kardama Muni, right, who got the darshan of Vishnu. And her son is again Vishnu, right? Considering all things, she is not a normal. But her submissiveness, her humbleness is showing her. That is one aspect we can see. And next aspect we can see, it's learning, it's for us. She is asking for our benefit. It's not exactly, we cannot take her that she is under that condition, that kind of position. But what we can think, it is for our benefit she is asking. And second thing, her submissiveness, her humbleness, that we can see. Yeah.
Thank you for the class, it's really great.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I understand that we pray to Krishna for empowerment.
Yes.
So does that mean that an individual soul has no abilities of his own?
Yes, that's what we can see the Brahma's prayers, right? And when Brahma, he came out of the Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, he's trying to see where is he, he could not understand anything. He doesn't have enough intelligence to understand his purpose, the creation, right? So then when he prayed Krishna, he gave the intelligence. So Brahma himself is having that position, so we can understand how insignificant living entities we are. So we may, by false ego or under the modes of material nature, we may think that we know everything, but that is not actual. That is our false ego. We think that we know everything. That is our false ego. But if you see the example, when we pray Krishna, he will give the right empowerment, right skills to execute that activity. Otherwise, it's a false ego is acting. We think that we know everything. That is a false ego.
We know nothing.
Yeah, only Krishna's mercy we know. By Krishna's mercy we get to know. That way you can say. By Krishna's arrangement, Krishna's empowerment, we get to know. We will be knowing it and doing it, but that is coming through Krishna, not on our own account. Anything. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.